Captain Tahoe stood on the bridge of the research vessel Starlight. His back was straight, and his face showed no emotion. After 20 years of space travel for the Galactic Federation, he had seen many strange things, but nothing like this. The blue-green planet filled the main screen. It spun slowly, wrapped in white clouds and blue oceans. Tahoe had visited over 300 worlds, but this one was different. "Captain, you need to see these readings," Science Officer Juwu said. Her voice was soft but excited. Tahoe walked to her station. Numbers and charts covered her screen. He could read the data, but he wanted to hear it from her. "Tell me what we're seeing," he said. Juwu pointed to several graphs. "The life readings are beyond anything in our records. This planet has more types of living things than any world we found." "Interesting," Tahoe said. He tried to sound calm, but his heart beat faster. New life forms meant new knowledge, new resources, maybe new allies. What about the highest life forms? "They call themselves humans," Juwu said. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. Images appeared on her screen. Tall creatures walking on two legs, with two arms and round heads. They wore different coverings on their bodies and lived in structures of many shapes. "They use tools," she continued. "They have machines, buildings, and they talk to each other using sounds and written symbols. Their technology level? Early space age. They visited their moon and sent simple machines to nearby planets. They have nuclear power and worldwide communication networks." Tahoe nodded. "So they're not too primitive for contact?" "No, but..." Juwu hesitated. "What is it?" "Their planet shouldn't support advanced life at all." Juwu brought up more charts. "The gravity is 1.2 times our standard. Temperature ranges from -50 to +50 degrees in different regions. Storms with winds over 300 units. Their sun gives off harmful radiation, and they have thousands of large predators and tiny disease-causing organisms." Tahoe frowned. "How do these humans survive?" "They adapt," Juwu said. "They build shelters against the weather. They make medicines against diseases. They create tools to overcome their physical limits." Tahoe looked back at the main screen. The ship's computers had found a city on the coast of a large landmass. The images showed destruction, buildings fallen, waters rising, trees broken. "What happened here?" he asked. "A storm," Juwu said. "They call it a hurricane. It hit this city 3 days ago." The images changed to show humans moving through the damaged areas. They carried injured people to safety. They passed food and water to each other. They worked together to clear roads and fix broken power lines. "Keep watching this area," Tahoe ordered. "I want to see how they recover." For 3 days, the Starlight stayed in orbit. The crew watched the humans rebuild their city. They saw them rescue people trapped in fallen buildings. They saw them share homes with those who had lost theirs. They saw them bring in supplies from other cities. On the 4th day, Tahoe called his officers to the meeting room. 6 aliens of different species sat around the table, each representing a major power in the Galactic Federation. "We need to decide," Tahoe said. "Do we contact these humans or leave them alone?" Security Chief Daehyun shook his head. "They're too dangerous. Any species that evolves on a death world is a threat." "I agree," said Engineer Mensu. "They're violent. We saw them fighting among themselves in several regions. But they also help each other," Medical Officer Suwa pointed out. "They save lives at risk to themselves." Juwu nodded. "And they're smart. Their science is advancing quickly. Within 100 years, they'll develop faster than light travel. Then they'll find us anyway." Tahoe listened to them debate. The Federation had rules about contact with new species. Some planets were quarantined, watched but never approached. Others were welcomed into the galactic community. "We should vote," he said finally. The vote was 3 for contact, 3 against. The decision came down to Tahoe. He thought about what he had seen. The humans were violent, yes, but they were also brave and kind. They fought to protect each other. They worked together to overcome disasters. In many ways, they reminded him of his own people long ago. We will recommend contact, he decided. These humans have something special. They don't give up. On a world that should kill them, they not only survive, they create beauty and knowledge. The council might not agree, Daehyun warned. Then we will show them what we've seen, Tahoe said. The council values new perspectives. The humans have faced challenges none of our species have known. They might help us solve problems we've struggled with for centuries. Tahoe returned to the bridge and looked once more at the planet. Somewhere down there, millions of beings lived their lives, unaware that they were being watched from above. Soon, their whole world would change. Send our report to the Federation Council, he ordered. Tell them we found something unique, a species born on a death world who turned their harsh planet into a home. Tell them we recommend first contact with humanity. As the message went out across the stars, Tahoe wondered how the humans would react when they learned they were not alone. Would they be afraid, curious, hostile? Whatever happened, he knew one thing. The galaxy would never be the same again. The giant silver ship hung in the sky for 3 days before it made its move. People around the world pointed cameras at it. News stations showed nothing else. Some people ran away from big cities. Others went toward the ship, wanting to see aliens with their own eyes. On the 4th day, world leaders got a message. The ship would land outside New Geneva, the neutral city built after the last big war. The aliens wanted to talk. Security Administrator Minji didn't like this job. She walked around the landing site one more time, checking that her team was ready. 50 soldiers with special weapons stood hidden around the flat field. No one knew if the weapons would work against aliens, but having them made people feel better. Any movement from the ship? She asked into her radio. It's starting to descend, came the answer. Minja looked up. The silver disk was getting bigger in the sky. She could see patterns on its surface now. It made no sound as it came down, which seemed wrong to her. Something so big should roar or at least hum. The ship stopped 10 meters above the ground. Dust swirled beneath it. Then legs came out from its bottom, and it settled on the earth with a gentle thud. Behind Minja, important people from every country waited. Presidents and prime ministers stood together, forgetting old fights in the face of something much bigger. Ambassador Hyunwoo stood in front of them all. He had been chosen to speak first because he had worked on peace deals between many countries. If anyone could talk to aliens, people thought, it would be him. A door opened in the side of the ship. Minjae put her hand on her gun. Light shone from inside the ship, too bright to see what was there. Then they started coming out. First came a tall being with blue skin that seemed to shine in different colors as it moved. It walked on 2 legs like a human but had 4 arms and a head with no hair. Its eyes were large and black. Behind it came another alien, short and round with brown fur covering its body. It moved on 6 legs like an insect. Then came 5 more creatures, each stranger than the last. One floated above the ground. One looked like it was made of crystal. Another had tentacles instead of arms. They wore no clothes, but some had devices attached to their bodies. Ambassador Hyunwoo stepped forward. Minjae had to admire his courage. His face showed nothing but calm interest, though she knew he must be terrified inside. On behalf of Earth, we welcome you, Hyunwoo said, bowing slightly as was the custom in his country. The tall blue alien stepped forward. Its mouth moved strangely, but perfect human words came out. I am Supreme Delegate Sungho of the Galactic Federation. We have been observing your world for some time. Minja felt a chill. How long had they been watching? What had they seen? Sungho continued. We represent 37 spacefaring species who share knowledge and resources. We come in peace to invite Earth to join our community. The world leaders whispered to each other. This was better than many had feared. After the first greetings, everyone moved to the large conference room built for this meeting. Minjae stood against the wall, watching everything. The aliens sat or rested in special chairs made for their different bodies. "We have many questions," Hyunwoo said once everyone was settled. "As do we," Sungo replied. "But first, I must explain something about your world." The blue alien touched a device on its arm. A 3D image appeared above the table, planets of different colors, with information in strange symbols. "These are homeworlds of Federation species," Sungo explained. "Notice the similarities: stable temperatures, low radiation, few natural disasters, mild gravity." The image changed to show Earth, spinning slowly. "And this is your world. We classify it as a Category 9 death world." Minja saw confusion on the faces of the human leaders. "Death world?" Defense Minister Jaeyoung asked. She was a tough woman who had fought in wars. Even she looked worried now. "Yes," Sungo said. "Your planet has extreme conditions by our standards. Your gravity is crushing to most Federation species. Your weather includes devastating storms. Your plants and animals include many that are deadly. Your star bombards you with radiation. Yet you not only survive, you thrive." The crystal-like alien spoke, its voice like music. "Most intelligent life evolves on gentle worlds. It's easier for big brains to develop when survival isn't so hard. Your adaptability is remarkable." Sungo continued. "You can live in deserts and Arctic regions. You eat foods that would poison others. Your bodies repair damage that would kill most species." Defense Minister Jaeyoung leaned forward in her chair. "What does this mean for Earth?" Her voice was careful, controlled. "It means," Sungo replied, "that some fear you, while others are fascinated by your potential." The room got very quiet. Some in the Federation believe species from death worlds become too aggressive, too expansionist. They worry that if given advanced technology, you might become dangerous to others. Minja tightened her grip on her weapon. This was starting to sound like a threat. But Sungo continued, "Others, like myself, see your unique evolution as valuable. You solve problems in ways we would never think of. You take risks we would avoid. You could help us grow." The furry alien spoke up. "When we saw how you handle disasters, helping each other, rebuilding, never giving up, many of us argued strongly for contact." President Hana of the Eastern Alliance spoke next. "If we were to join your federation, what would that mean? Would Earth keep its independence?" "Yes," Sungo said. "All members remain sovereign, but you would gain access to knowledge, trade, and protection. In return, you would share your unique perspectives and agree to our basic laws." "And if we decline?" asked another leader. The floating alien answered this time. "Then we would leave you in peace, but we would continue to monitor your development. Once you achieve faster-than-light travel, contact becomes inevitable anyway." Ambassador Hyunwoo nodded thoughtfully. "We will need time to discuss this among ourselves." "Of course," Sungo said. "This is just the beginning of our talks." As the meeting continued, Minji watched the aliens closely. They seemed peaceful, but she couldn't help wondering what they weren't saying. If some feared humans, what might they do about it? Later, as the sun set, Minji stood outside watching the alien ship glow in the darkness. Earth had changed forever today. Whether that was good or bad, no one could say yet. General Dongyun was not a man who showed fear easily. He had fought in 3 wars and faced death many times. But as he looked at the images on the screen, his hands shook. The asteroid was massive, almost 2 kilometers wide. The computer models showed its path clearly. In 42 days, it would hit Earth. If it struck land, dust would block the sun for years. If it hit the ocean, giant waves would destroy coastal cities worldwide. This cannot be a coincidence. Dongyun slammed his fist on the table as the projections played again. 6 months after first contact, we face extinction. The world leaders gathered in the emergency meeting room looked grim. Some stared at the floor. Others whispered to each other. All looked afraid. A large screen on the wall showed Ambassador Hyunwoo. He was on the Federation station orbiting Jupiter, where he had been negotiating Earth's membership terms. The Federation Council claims no knowledge of its origin, Hyunwoo said. His face showed no emotion, a skill he had developed through years of difficult negotiations. But they've offered technical assistance. Technical assistance? President Hanna asked. Why not just destroy it for us? Their ships have weapons that could easily break it apart. They say this is not their policy, Hyunwoo replied. They provide knowledge but rarely direct intervention. They claim it is for our own development. Scientist Yoonji stood up. She was small and quiet, but when she spoke, people listened. She was the leading expert on the alien technology humans have been allowed to study. Suspicious timing, she noted. And why offer help without simply handling it themselves? They clearly have the technology. General Dong-Yun nodded. I smell a test. The question is, what happens if we fail? Far away, on the massive Federation headquarters station near Saturn, observer Jinwoo watched multiple screens showing Earth's response to the crisis. Humans were panicking in some places, but their leaders were acting quickly. Military ships were already moving to new positions. Scientists were being gathered from around the world. Jinwoo was human in appearance, but his grandparents had left Earth centuries ago on generation ships before faster-than-light travel was discovered. His family had joined the Federation long ago. Now he served as Earth's only representative in the Federation's governing body. Supreme Delegate Sung-ho entered the observation room. His blue skin shimmered in the soft light. The Doyen faction orchestrated this test, didn't they? Jinwoo asked without looking away from the screens. Sung-ho didn't deny it. They believe humans are too unpredictable to join us. If they survive, perhaps the Doyen will reconsider. And if they don't survive, then the Doyen were right to be cautious, Sung-ho said simply. Jinwoo turned to face him. This is against Federation law. No species should interfere with another's development so directly. The Doyen control many votes on the council. They found a loophole. The asteroid was already on a path that would bring it near Earth in 50 years. They simply adjusted its course. You could stop this, Jinwoo said. I could, Sung-ho admitted, but then we would never know what humans are truly capable of. Back on Earth, nations were putting aside old fights. Factories that once made cars now built spacecraft parts. Soldiers loaded nuclear weapons onto rockets. Scientists worked day and night to adapt the Federation technology Earth had been given. At the World Space Center, Yoonji led a team of 200 scientists from 30 countries. They had been given some information about Federation force fields and gravity control, but not enough to simply copy alien technology. We need to think differently, Yoonji told her team. We can't match their technology, but we can use what we know in new ways. For 2 weeks, they developed and tested ideas. Some failed completely. Others showed promise but needed more time. Time they didn't have. General Dong-Yun visited the center regularly. Today, he found Yoonji asleep at her desk, surrounded by papers covered in equations and drawings. Doctor, he said softly, waking her. Any progress? Yoonji blinked and sat up straight. Yes, we have a plan now. She pointed to a large diagram on the wall. But we'll need everything. Every rocket, every nuclear weapon, all the new materials we've been developing. You'll have them, Dong-Yun promised. Tell me how it works. Yoonji explained their plan. They would build a series of special satellites with devices that could push on the asteroid using gravity itself. These wouldn't be strong enough alone, so they would also send nuclear weapons to break up the larger asteroid into smaller pieces. The gravity devices would then push the pieces away from Earth. Will it work? Dong-Yun asked. Maybe, Yoonji said honestly. We've had to invent new science to make this possible. With more time, I'd be certain. But we have less than a month now. Then we start building today. Around the world, people work together like never before. Old enemies shared resources and knowledge. Rich countries helped poor ones. Every space agency cooperated. In orbit, astronauts from 12 countries built the special satellites. The work was dangerous and difficult. 2 people died when a tool hit an oxygen tank and caused an explosion. But the work continued. On Federation headquarters, Jinwoo continued watching. He saw humans working harder than he thought possible. He saw them solving problems the Federation would have approached very differently. Most of all, he saw them refusing to give up hope. They might actually survive this, he told Sungo one day. Perhaps, the Supreme Delegate replied. The Doyen are watching too. They're surprised by human progress. Will they interfere again if humans succeed? Sungo's large eyes blinked slowly. That depends on how humans succeed. If they show wisdom along with strength, even the Doyen might be impressed. 20 days before impact, Earth launched its defense. 40 specially designed rockets carried nuclear weapons toward the asteroid. Behind them came the gravity satellites, which would move into position after the explosions. Yoonji stood in the control room, watching the numbers on her screen. Everything had to be perfect. The timing, the positioning, the sequence of explosions. First missiles will reach target in 6 hours, someone announced. Around the world, people gathered in homes and public spaces to watch. Some prayed. Some cried. All hoped. General Dong-yun stood beside Yoonji. Whatever happens, he said quietly, this brought out the best in humanity. Yoonji nodded. Let's just make sure we have a future to build on. On Federation headquarters, even the Doyen representatives were now watching Earth's effort with interest. No Category 9 Death World species had ever been tested this way before. The countdown continued. Earth's future hung in the balance. The explosion shook the entire space station. Alarms blared through the command center as red emergency lights flashed. Technicians rushed to their stations, fingers flying across control panels. Yoonji pushed through the crowd, her face streaked with soot. She had been inspecting the main power system when it happened. Her arm was bleeding, but she ignored it. Report, General Dong-hyun demanded as she approached. Yoonji took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. The deflection system has been sabotaged, she reported, her voice tight with controlled panic. Someone deliberately overloaded the primary power couplings. Silence fell across the command center. Everyone understood what this meant. Their careful plan, the work of thousands of people over months, was now useless. The gravity devices that were supposed to push the asteroid away were destroyed. General Dong-yun walked to the large window that looked out at Earth below. From here, it looked peaceful. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown land. Soon, that view might change forever. Time until impact, he asked without turning around. 18 hours, Yoonji said. Dong-hyun nodded slowly. Get me all world leaders on a call. Now, in orbit around Mars, Federation ships watched the situation unfold. Their sensors could see everything happening on and around Earth. Their weapons and technology could easily destroy the incoming asteroid. We should help them, said Junior Observer Hanyul. She was young and had not been part of the Federation long. We cannot interfere, replied Senior Observer Kyung-mi. The Council has voted. This is a test for humanity. But someone sabotaged their defense. That wasn't part of the test. The Doyen claimed no knowledge of any sabotage, Kyung-mi said, though her tone suggested she didn't believe this. On Federation headquarters, Jinwoo argued fiercely with the Council. This goes beyond testing. This is attempted genocide. The Doyen representative, a tall, thin being with gray skin, responded coldly. We did not approve any sabotage. Perhaps it was human error, or perhaps humans sabotaged themselves to gain our sympathy. Sung-ho raised a hand for silence. What matters now is what humans do next. Will they give up, or will they try again? On the main screen, they could see frantic activity around Earth. Ships moved in new patterns. Communications between countries increased dramatically. They're not giving up, Jinwoo noted with surprise. Look at this, new launches from 5 different countries. Back on Earth, Yoonji stood before the Emergency Council of World Leaders. Her plan was desperate, but it was all they had. "We don't have time to rebuild the main system," she explained. "Instead, we need to try many smaller solutions at once." "Like what?" President Hanna asked. "Everything we have," Yunji said. "Nuclear weapons won't destroy an asteroid that size completely, but they could break it up or change its course slightly. Mass drivers, electromagnetic launchers, could push it further. And we still have some of the smaller gravity devices that weren't connected to the main system. None of these would work alone," General Dong Yun added. "But together they might create just enough change in the asteroid's path to miss Earth," Yunji finished. "How much time do you need to prepare all this?" another leader asked. "More than we have," Yunji admitted, "but we'll do it anyway." The next 12 hours were the most intense in human history. Every space agency launched whatever they had. Nuclear missiles were reprogrammed to target the asteroid. Satellites were quickly modified for new purposes. In China, engineers worked frantically to complete a mass driver that had been in development for mining operations. They finished it in 6 hours, set it up on their largest space station, and aimed it at the asteroid. In Russia, old nuclear weapons were loaded onto rockets designed for different purposes. The chances of them working properly were low, but they had to try. The African Space Coalition contributed a swarm of small satellites with ion engines. Alone, they would have no effect on the massive rock, but hundreds together, pushing in the same direction, might help. In orbit, Yunji coordinated everything from the damaged space station. Her arm was now bandaged, but she had refused to leave her post. "First wave of nuclear strikes in 3 minutes," she announced. "All other systems, stand by to measure results and adjust your targets accordingly." Around the world, people watched their screens. Many had moved to underground shelters. Others stood in the open, looking up at the sky, where soon the asteroid might become visible to the naked eye. The nuclear weapons hit first. Flashes of light appeared in space as the missiles found their target. The asteroid didn't break apart as hoped, but sensors showed it had been damaged. "Course change of 0.02 degrees, a technician reported. "Not enough. Launch second wave," Yunji ordered, "and activate the mass driver." In China, engineers fired up their hastily completed weapon. A series of electromagnetic pulses launched a massive metal projectile toward the asteroid at incredible speed. It struck with tremendous force. "Course change now 0.04 degrees, came the update. "Still not enough. "Deploy the satellite swarm," Yunji commanded. Hundreds of small satellites positioned themselves around the asteroid. Their engines fired continuously, pushing against the giant rock from all sides. "Course change 0.06 degrees. "We need at least 0.1 to miss Earth completely," General Dong Yun said quietly. Yunji nodded. "Prepare the gravity devices. This is our last chance." The remaining gravity devices were not meant to work without the main system. Using them this way might destroy them, but there was no choice. They were positioned and activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the numbers on the screen began to change. "Course change 0.07, 0.08, 0.09. Everyone in the command center held their breath. 0.1 degrees. "The asteroid will miss Earth by approximately 600 kilometers." A cheer went up, but Yunji raised her hand for silence. "It's not over yet. The gravity devices are failing. We might lose some of that course change." The next hours were tense as they watched the asteroid approach. It grew visible in the sky to many parts of Earth, a bright point that grew steadily larger. When it made its closest approach, it lit up the sky like a second sun. The upper atmosphere heated and glowed as the massive rock skimmed along the very edge of Earth's protective blanket of air. The ground shook in many places. Windows broke from the pressure wave. But then it was past, continuing its journey into space. As the massive rock skimmed Earth's atmosphere before continuing into space, cheers erupted in command centers worldwide. People hugged each other, Some cried with relief. On the Federation Council, the Doyen representatives watched in stunned silence. What they had believed impossible had happened. Humans, with their primitive technology and limited time, had saved themselves from certain destruction. Remarkable, one of them finally said. Sungo looked at Jinwoo and nodded slightly. Perhaps, he said, we have underestimated humanity. 1 year after the extraordinary encounter, humanity stood on the brink of a new era. Ambassador Hyunwoo represented Earth before the Galactic Federation Council, his voice calm but determined. The humans had negotiated their entry into the galactic community with bold conditions that made some alien representatives nervous. The council members watched carefully as Hyunwoo spoke about technological exchanges and equal representation. Supreme Delegate Sungo recognized something special in human potential, a unique ability to solve problems in ways no other species could imagine. As the official ceremony concluded, Jinwoo quietly approached Hyunwoo. He understood the underlying tensions. Many alien civilizations feared humanity's rapid evolution and unpredictable nature. Humans had survived by fighting against impossible challenges, and now they were ready to fight for something bigger, a shared future among countless stars. Captain Taman stood on the bridge of humanity's first faster-than-light spaceship. Around him, advanced Federation vessels escorted their newest members into the vast darkness of space. Navigator Juyeon monitored the ship's systems, plotting a course toward distant Andromeda colonies. Taman watched Earth grow smaller through the viewing window. His people had transformed from a planet-bound species to galactic explorers in just a few decades. Their journey represented more than technological achievement. It symbolized human spirit, adaptable, resilient, and unafraid of the unknown. As the ship accelerated, Taman knew they carried something extraordinary. Not just advanced technology or diplomatic agreements, but the fundamental human qualities that had always defined their species: curiosity, courage, and an unbreakable will to survive and thrive. The stars stretched before them, promising adventures beyond imagination.